One of our most important needs for integration across the school is a whole school vision. Although the New South Wales Education Department has a digital education policy, principals, executives and teachers still need to take advantage of the opportunities to address the current educational needs and provide information, reflection and specific directions about what our school will look like in the next 5 years and how we will get there. This vision process is constrained not only by the lack of available time and process, but also by the fact that change is so rapid and it's difficult for our principals and staff to identify future needs. Robler and During give the example that faster communication wasn't seen as a need until mobile technologies and messaging became available. The integration of technology is chaotic and doesn't fit with a logical, linear approach. Many of our principals and executives do not yet have sufficient experience or knowledge to drive the changes as the goalposts are constantly changing. Use of ICT is generally locked into the cultural, social and organisational context of our life and work. So, although many teachers are keen to use and integrate the ICTs, they are maintaining many of the traditional structures because that is what they are familiar with and what they've learned. It's possible for us to have a school focus group to be organised with the principal to investigate and disseminate information about how to develop our whole school vision. In addition, time and money would be advantageous, and having invested in learning about and implementing the ongoing change process with an explicit plan put in place, for example, where we're going and how we're going to get there. In addition, another possibility would be collegial input and expertise and have them access to help us drive the change amongst all the staff. Ongoing professional development. Training needs to be addressed to provide skills in teaching about, with and through technology. Since our initial skill training in whiteboards, there's been no extended training for classroom teachers that could impact on their practices and beliefs and provide them with some direction about the best and most effective use of technology to achieve the learning outcomes. The IWBs tend to support a teacher-centred pedagogy rather than a student-centred pedagogy. And although many of them have found the interactive aspects very motivating, the consistent use of whiteboards has been gradual due to the lack of confidence and the need for initial training in skills and software. Now that the first excitement and glow about ICT has abated and skills training has been executed, the whiteboards seem to have been absorbed into the familiar talk and chalk routines with hardly a whimper. In addition, with our new mobile technologies having been purchased and being used by many teachers, there is still no support to help them gain understanding about the pedagogical impacts of their mobile use. In relation to constraints, professional development has usually followed a one-day workshop model of learn today, implement tomorrow, resulting in very little long-term change. Teachers' attitudes and beliefs about the use of technology integration impacts on their use in the classrooms. Lack of understanding about transforming the way we teach using the digital technologies has resulted in their use mostly for consolidation and drill and practice. The whiteboards are enhancing the regular instructions but rarely transforming it, as teachers' classroom practice is still linear with the need to remain in control of a large group of young people in a schoolroom. ICT for many has become an extension of regular practice to make the learning more efficient. Possibilities. With ongoing, accountable professional development, teachers can begin to understand the inherent ability of the web to be non-linear, giving the students and the teachers different routes to their learning and allowing for different entry points into knowledge. Training and development could result in a pedagogy shift that includes technology as an integral and important component of the 21st century classroom practice. That a TPAC view would be valued and understood by all teachers to help create a shift in beliefs and attitudes. Another possibility is that professional development will include an understanding of the ethics of the internet use, the safety and the equitable treatment of students. Hardware and software. Although we have an IWB in each room, we need a range of hardware such as digital cameras, For the students, headsets, microphones, scanners, classroom visualisers, consistent internet access and special needs tools. Computers and internet access need to be updated. Many computers don't have inbuilt cameras and do not process fast enough. Internet access needs to be upgraded to access the Wi-Fi and faster downloading. Maintenance issues are beginning to emerge now with bulb replacements, faulty or outdated programs needing to be changed. In addition, the department needs to unblock many sites and services that initially were viewed as inappropriate, for example Skype and some of the social media. For the constraints, there's several areas to consider. Risk and fragility. Internet access is inconsistent. The maintenance of the equipment takes time due to isolation of our school and the availability of department-approved staff. Accessibility. There's now an overload of information, apps, websites available for teachers to tap into, and this can be very overwhelming. There's still an ad hoc flavour, as many people do not do research and prepare or program. There seems to be a last-minute belief or bucket theory perception that there is so much on the internet that there'll be something there, even if it's not the best or always quite fitted to the outcomes. Speed of change and the invasiveness. The update of new technologies is costly and can be physically intrusive during installation. As soon as you invest in one technology, there's a newer, better version on the way, and teachers can find it difficult. Mobile technologies. These are expensive and have to be shared. For example, we have 40 iPads that have to be shared with 283 children on a rostered basis, and this can be very difficult both in organisation, physical movement, and care and control. A constraint of the physical setup. In many rooms, they're not compatible to the newer technologies. For example, furniture, electrical outlets, position of the whiteboards, distance of the rooms from the Wi-Fi access. There are lots of possibilities in relation to hardware and software. We can have faster broadband rollout, access to Wi-Fi hubs in every room, increased access to social networking websites and collaborative Web 2 tools such as Bubble Us and Skype and Poplet, updated computers with the latest high-speed processing, cameras and collaborative software, further funding provided on an annual basis to purchase, upgrade and manage the mobile technologies, perhaps a provision of a range of one-to-one technologies that through a plan of purchase or a BYOD policy, which is bring your own, and even integration of appropriate tools and hardware to support special needs children, such as the hearing impaired or the sight impaired. And in addition, another possibility is to allow teachers to have ongoing time to reflect and play and integrate the new learning into their practice. And finally, 21st century learners. Prensky, famous for his early arguments about digital natives and digital immigrants, may have needed to revise his arguments to include the concept of digital wisdom these days, but he was correct in acknowledging that many students are bored, restless and disinterested in much of what school has to offer. Now that they have opportunities to engage informally with motivating, exciting technologies at home, schools and educators have to keep abreast and utilise more classroom technologies. As argued by Wellington, there is evidence that ICT in the form of whiteboards, iPads and Web 2 tools has changed many of our classrooms, and that they enrich the learning by motivating all students, especially the disaffected students. Certainly at our school, there is a need to keep kids motivated, and there has been much excitement and increased motivation in many areas. For example, abstract concepts can be shown visually, reinforced learning with the fun, interactive games, visual learning using videos and film clips, and multi-literacies, and there's ongoing collaboration now, more often with peers. However, some of the constraints include the fact that access to many websites is blocked or restricted for fear of misuse by the students. Internet access can also be unreliable and cause disruption and delays in the execution of a lesson, causing management issues. Mobile apps can freeze or have bugs that frustrate the users. Single-touch access of our whiteboards impacts on the focus, the motivation and the behaviours of classrooms. Also, a lack of consistent and adequate training for teachers in the whiteboards and mobile technologies has an effect. And many teachers feel threatened by their lack of knowledge or expertise in front of students, as they're more used to having the teacher control rather than student-centred control. Possibilities Could include the updating of all our boards to allow multi-touch access, possibly changing our costly boards to TVs and Apple TVs so that we have connections with iPads. Mirroring with iPads and whiteboard technologies, blending them together to enhance the access and be able to integrate apps and websites together for a product. A possibility for collaborative student-centred activities that differentiate the learning outcomes more effectively using a range of technologies. And also a possibility for ongoing professional learning that allows again time for reflection and participation in professional dialogue with our colleagues. List of references used for this presentation.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.